Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know that I haven't posted in a little while, but I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of footage that I got here and tell you a little bit about why I wasn't able to post for so long. So I'll be making a longer video about it, but I essentially ruptured my eardrum for a second time while I was diving in New Zealand in late December, so I haven't been able to get into the water for 2 months. What you're watching right now is my first dive in over 2 months, so this was a pretty great day for me. On this day, we were taking out my buddy Jack and a new diver whose name is Mal, and we were getting out there trying to see if we could find some sheep or some kelp bass. I ended up coming across this lobster, which you will shortly see becomes an entire saga. It's very rare for me to see a lobster just sort of like sitting on the bottom like that. And, you know, he shows me where his buddy is. And the second lobster there looks like the first lobster was probably on the line of being legal, and the second one looked like it was probably good to go. So I got a little wrapped up there, but I left my gun on the bottom so that I could swim back and find them again. So you'll see that's the rock where I was checking on them right there at the tip of the gun. This is the second dive I make looking for these guys, so I'm looking in the hole, trying to see if he's there. I swim around the back just to see if there's any spots that they could escape from. It looks like it's pretty much sealed up back there, so little hole, but I don't think there's any way a lobster of that size was getting out through there. So I knew that, you know, based off the fact that I hadn't seen them swim out from the surface, they probably only had one way out. So here I am sticking my hand in, trying to see if I can feel them. I'm also experimenting with leaving some of the actual dive noises in the clips so you guys can hear what it's really like down on the bottom. It's pretty crazy, all that clicking you hear when you're diving down there, the sound of rocks just rolling around on the bottom. And in just a second here, you'll hear kind of like a crunching noise, and that's I'm grabbing onto the face of the lobster, who's now backed himself way up the back of the hole. See if we can hear that. There it is. That was that crunching noise there. So the lobsters kind of crunch as they try to squirm away. That's the sound of their tail as they're trying to kick away from me. But they were really wedged in there. And I'll let Axel from the surface tell you what happened.
No, it's not safe. They're too. I got my hand. I was like shoulder deep, and I had my hand on his face, and I pulled as hard as I could, and he's really wedged in. So there's no way. It's not worth it. I'm gonna keep swimming that way a bit further, see if I could spot some more fish.
So that's exactly what I did. Kept on swimming, tried to see if we can find some more fish. I saw some kelp bass. I think on this dive you'll see on this dive you'll see a perch I shot at. Also, this is a new gun setup. I don't know if anyone noticed, but I'll also probably make a video just updating on what I've done there. But I swapped the muzzle out on my Cressy Comanche, put on a second band, so now I've got a little bit extra power. I put on a much longer piece of leader material, so now I've got a little bit more range right off the shot. So I think I have a pretty decent setup right here. So this is sort of like a range test because it's the first time firing this setup. Now it's just a little perch swimming along up there, and the safety was on. That's how you know it was a first dive back. Now safety's off and clean miss. So at least I know the gun fires, but definitely a rookie mistake. And you can also see from a lot of these dives that I'm barely making it over a minute, so definitely fresh off of not diving for a while. On this dive you'll see a little kelp bass. Well, not that little actually. My friend Jack ended up shooting a nice one on this day. There were plenty out there, more than I ever see. I think there's a spawn sort of kind of in the winter time, I believe, because I always see increased numbers of kelp bass during the winter time. But you know, I saw these guys here and there, but really I was looking for sheep, so I didn't end up pulling the trigger on any of them, which was honestly my mistake, because they are delicious. But I still think that sheephead are hands down the most delicious fish. Actually, that's not even true. Opalite are more delicious, but where I'm diving here, sheephead are the best. So on this dive, I saw a sheep kind of disappear around this rock. So I swam down. I sort of positioned myself behind the rock because over to the left is where I saw the sheep go. You also see that shark down there. I believe that's called a milk shark. It's just hanging out right there on the bottom. But anyway, there was a bunch of sheep you can see off in the distance there behind that rock. So I sort of tucked myself down and one swam into frame. And that was the one I ended up going for. But I saw some better sheep on this day. This spot has some pretty solid sheep, but you know, I have yet to get my hands on one of those 10-pounders. But this was a nice little sheep. It made for some good tacos later on that afternoon. That's for sure. On this dive here, you can see how slowly I'm diving down to the bottom, and that's because I'm equalizing like 10 or 15 times as I make my way to the bottom to avoid rupturing my eardrum again. And there's one of those big sheep I was talking about before. They always seem to evade me, so I thought he'd swam over into this gully, and there he went crossing in front of the camera, so I thought maybe I could sneak over this rock and he'll be right there. But when I snuck over the rock, he was gone. So I'm pretty sure he was in that little crack down there or something, but I was running out of breath, so I thought, we'll get him on the next dive. And this was another dive where I saw a sheep from above, so I went down chasing after it. My method is I dive straight down and I sneak down onto the bottom. Here's a nice abalone shell. I'll always pick these up while I'm down there. I heard, as far as I know, you're legally allowed to take shells that you find. So, although there's a moratorium on the abalone meat and the mollusks themselves, I'm pretty sure you can take the shells, so I always take them. And I didn't end up finding this guy, but I just wanted to show you that dive because I love finding those shells. But anyway, you guys, I apologize for not posting for so long. I had more footage from this last weekend. This was last weekend. I'm going to go diving this coming weekend because the conditions look good, so there's going to be plenty of footage. And then I have all that footage from New Zealand as well. And I'll do more of an explanation on what happened to my eardrum and all that. So sorry for being missing for so long, and I look forward to making more videos for you guys going forward in the future. Have a good one. Adios.